Hello, parents, players, and coaches. Quarterback coach Todd Krieger here for Elite Football Recruiting on Sports Fan Base Network, Rhode Island. It's a new year. Happy holidays to everybody. Hopefully, it was a safe. I had a great holidays. Excited tonight. We've got our special guest is a 2021 wide receiver DB, John Santos from Bishop Hendricken Catholic High School here in Rhode Island. Bishop Hendricken is a powerhouse. The last 2 years, unfortunately, in Rhode Island, we didn't have fall football, but they were the last 2 years, they were the state champions. And I'm not sure, but I think they're like 10 out of the last 11 years, they were state champs. So Bishop Hendricken is a powerhouse for high school football in Rhode Island. They've got a tremendous track record of late of putting division, Rhode Island's a small state, putting kids into FBS. In fact, this year, Quiddy Pay, defensive end from Michigan, is projected in multiple mock drafts in the first round. And he played his high school football at Bishop Hendricken. He was a monster and a track guy. And then the year after that, they had Xavier Truss, who was a 6'7", 300-pound tackle, and he ended up going to Georgia. And I saw the Georgia guy decided to opt out, and so for the Peach Bowl, Xavier Truss was the starting quarterback. So that's really promising for him. He's a redshirt sophomore, so he might be a 2-year starter at Georgia, and maybe he's thinking about the NFL. Once you're starting at the FBS level, you got a great chance. And then they had another player, I don't even know how to say his name, but he's headed to Notre Dame. So they've put Bishop Hendricken is just tremendous about putting, for a small state, small school, it's an all private boys school, putting people into FBS. They're having a lot of success. So we've got John Santos tonight. He's going to be a great guest. He's a very interesting guy. John works with me. He comes to all our quarterback training sessions. He's really chatty. I love his spirit. Super smart, super intelligent. He's the school president. He's a track guy. He's a football guy. So excited to have him on our show tonight. So just to recap, watching college football, the draft, the NFL, we've got the playoffs. About a week ago, Academic Elite Football, which I'm part owner, we did a football showcase up in New Hampshire. Like I said before, for people who don't live in New England, there was no high school football. I know in other parts of the country, I was talking to some buddies of mine, some coaches down in Texas and California and Arizona, they all had high school football. But in Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, Vermont, New York, no fall football. So it was really challenging for 2021s to get recruited, and it's really unfortunate. So we ran a high school football showcase up in New Hampshire. New Hampshire is a little more relaxed about the COVID. They actually had high school football. And it was a great turnout. We had 120 players, 32 coaches. It was just fantastic. Tremendous talent. So we're excited about that went, how well it went. We've actually had 2 kids from that showcase that night or the next day signed and agreed to go play college football. So it was pretty exciting with that whole process. Going forward, it's starting to snow up here, and so most of the players are starting their indoor training at the turf facilities. We actually have scheduled high school football is going to be played in the winter, spring here in New England. So it's projected that they're going to have high school football start February 25th. I sure hope that happens. I have questions how that's the functionality, if that's going to work with snow on the ground and the ground is frozen, how that's going to happen. So I'm hoping that really comes to fruition so that these 2021 players have some kind of a high school football. They've been training and sacrificing, going to camps and showcases and trying to get recruited to go play college football. So it's challenging. I just don't know how they're going to do it. They're going to do a compressed season of 4 to 6 games, and then maybe 1 or 2 playoff games. But I just don't know how they're going to do it when the ground's frozen, and if you don't have a turf field, how are you going to practice outside on frozen grass? How are you going to have a high school game? I hope somehow they can figure it all out. I'm optimistic, but I'm being a realist at the same time. Once again, before I go to invite John, I want to review about, while it's tough to get recruited, what can you do strategically, have a plan to get recruited. Talk to multiple coaches at the showcase. Almost everybody is using Twitter to do recruiting. They're doing Zoom calls. They're doing virtual visits. And so your Twitter account, if you're a high school player, is the key recruiting tool. You want to have your height, your name. I posted, if you go to do any of the stuff you want information about, it will be on my social media. On Twitter, I've got Quarterback Guru and Academic Elite Football, Academic FB. On Instagram, it's the same thing. I've posted the typical, most efficient Twitter way you should have it listed. So there's samples of that. But you want to have your name, your year, your position, contact information, maybe your college, high school coach, your height, your weight, your GPA, your SAT score, your 40 time, anything that's positive. If you've got a powerful squat, if you're all state, your state champs, something like that. And then you want to have your huddle. And that's just as important. We had Coach McCormick 3 weeks ago, recruiting coordinator for Division III UMass Dartmouth. And he talked about how important your huddle is, to have your 3-4 wow plays first, and don't need to have your huddle tape more than 2 or 3 minutes. These guys have 8, 9, 10 minutes. The coaches just don't have that time. I've talked to numerous college coaches. They watch between 70 and 100 videos on huddle a day. So they're just looking for your 4 or 5 best plays to see if they have an interest in you. So you want to put that first on your huddle. Anyways, enough of that. So I'm really excited about tonight's show. We're going to do a quick commercial break. And then when I come back, we'll have John Santos from Bishop Hendricken as our guest tonight. Hey, John, can you hear me?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, thanks for coming on our show tonight. Appreciate it. I know you got a dinner thing with some friends tonight. It's Friday night, but you took the time to come on, and thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, no problem, Coach. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so I've known John now for about 2 years. He's come to multiple. We have private training sessions on the weekends. John comes. He's come and participated in some of our showcases, so I've got to know John really well. The first thing I met about you is you're really outgoing, and I'm an old guy, so I would say you're chatty. You're pretty outspoken, and I've talked to some of the other teammates, and they're like, "Yeah, that's kind of his personality." So where does that come from? That you just exude this confidence, and your viewpoints on things are pretty interesting.
I mean, I've always been like that, to be honest. I'm not really sure where it comes from. Like, ever since I was younger, I've always been like interested in like a bunch of different topics, things like that. Like, I always have a lot on my mind, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I guess that's where it comes from. I'm not necessarily like, I don't know everything in the world. I'm not that kind of guy. I just like to, speak on a lot of things, I guess.
I've been impressed talking to you when we take a break of your viewpoints, and you always have a logical reasoning when I say, well, why do you think that? You always have a fact-based idea behind it. And for being a high school senior, I'm really impressed. So kudos to you for that.
I appreciate it, Coach.
So for people who don't know, John he attends Bishop Hendricken. Why don't you give a little thumbnail sketch, a little overview of what Bishop Hendrick's about for people who maybe they don't live in Rhode Island or watching the show? Tell them about Bishop Hendrick and all it's about.
Yeah, so Bishop Hendrick's all boys Catholic school in Warwick, Rhode Island. I mean, I've been going there ever since sophomore year because I transferred in there from Providence. Yeah, it's a pretty good school, man. I mean, not pretty good. It's a really good school. I love it. Made a lot of friends there, a lot of brothers. You know what I mean? It's a brotherhood at the end of the day. That's how we look at it. And I've been enjoying it ever since. You know, it's a great school. Great school.
Yeah, there's my son is a hardcore Catholic, and he ended up going to Prout, which is a Catholic high school in Rhode Island, and he actually toured Bishop Hendrick, and I got to go with him when he was an eighth grader, and even then I was really impressed because I had never really done that. I always knew about the sports, but they have all these great programs. He had a great audio visual. They had a great arts, all the sports. I'm just really, really impressed with they do a great job in all their sporting events. So tell us about, I know I already put it out there on some of my social media. Tell us how that happened, but you are currently the school president. Is that correct?
Correct.
How'd that happen? Tell us about that.
I mean, it's just like you want to stay, or at least how it happened for me, like you just stay in touch with people like in the school and things like that. And by people, I mean like administration and, the higher ups, I guess. Like, I guess I get along with everybody in the school, you know what I mean? I guess it's just how it is, it went well for me like that. Like, I just like to keep a good relationship with everybody that I meet, especially in a school like that where I know there's like full of opportunities. Like every room you go into is a room of opportunity at that school. So, I always try to put my best foot forward and, like just, keep in touch with everybody and keep all my opportunities in reach.
Yeah, I've met quite a few Hendricken football players, and everybody has nice things to say about you. I can't find one guy that would like try to throw under the bus. I'm like, come on, he can't be that good. But that's fantastic. So, President Bishop Hendricken, all boys school. Let's talk a little bit about your sports background, not football, but you're quite the track athlete, correct?
Yep. So I'm defending state champion in the high jump and in the long jump. Speaking of that, I just got my plaque.
Long jump too? I didn't know that. I thought it was just the high jump.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you. I'll show you the plaque right now. It's in my house. I literally just got it today. That was for the summer championship that we had. But yeah, I started track my sophomore year, like before I started football, and like I picked up like high jump and long jump, like things like that pretty quickly, and like it went well for me. I've been doing it ever since. I'm now the captain of the track team. And yeah, like I love it. It's a great sport. I think any athlete in general, no matter what sport you play, especially football, if you play football and you don't do track, then like you're missing out like a lot. Track is to me the most it's not, I shouldn't say demanding sport, because like at the end of the day, track is just your body and what you can do with your body in all different kinds of movements, like sprinting and jumping and throwing and all that. Like I recommend every football player, like if you're not doing it right now, like you need to start. Like it's not just a pastime, you know what I mean? It gets you in shape and it teaches a lot of fundamentals of, body movements at the end of the day. That's what track and field is all about. So yeah, I think I recommend it for everybody, you know what I mean?
So did I hear that right? You only took up track like seriously as a sophomore in high school?
I didn't even do track before. Yeah, before I went to Hendrick, and I didn't.
Are you serious, man? You was like a natural. So you took it up as a sophomore, and you're already the state champ in both the broad jump and the high jump.
Yep.
That's amazing. So how high have you gone? What was the state? What did you have to jump to win the state meet?
So yeah, at states, at that state meet I cleared 6'4". I've cleared 6'6" before in training, things like that. And then for long jump was I competed at the state championship in February, but I didn't win there. I won in August when we had the outdoor state championship. And over there, I jumped.
Here, places outside the New England, we have winter indoor track, right? And then we have the spring outdoor track. You know,
Yep.
if you were down in Georgia or Florida and Texas, you could, you know, it's
It's year
outdoors the whole
round over
time.
there. I wish, man. I'm training every day right now. I'm training outside in the cold. You know what I mean? But I got to get it done. You know, we have a short season this year. It's only going to be for indoor at least. It's going to be 7 weeks. We have our state championship again February, either 20th or 21st. And you know, I mean, I gotta make every rep count. So you know, just gotta
So are
get
you?
up.
So you've started winter track. Just started. Is that what you just said? It's
Yeah,
just
we just started. We started this Monday, our practice and all that. And my first meet is gonna be next Saturday.
Oh wow! So that's only like a week away. So
Yeah.
what do you do for training when you're a high jump long jump guy? Are you doing like explosive bounding? Do you do lift weight squats? Like are you running sprints? Like I don't
I
what do
do. I
you
mean, I'll be honest. Like I do every like almost every event. I do high jump, long jump, triple jump. I hurdle. I sprint on the relay and things like that. Like I do it all pretty much for my team, especially this year. Like I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to like taking that responsibility and you know performing at the best of my ability. But yeah, like I do all the kinds of different movements. You know, sprinting, jumping, bounding, whatever you want to call it. And that I was gonna say the thing I loved about track the most that like stuck with me the most, I'd say, is the recovery and the stretching and the warm ups and things like that. Like that's a very big part of track and field. Like ask any track guy that they'll tell you like before me or before practice things like that. Like the coach this is like how it goes. You'll warm up for like 20 minutes before you even start doing anything because at the end of the day track and field like the force you're exerting is like you always want it to be like you know at the tip top, you know what I mean, to you know to perform at the best of your ability. Like sprinting very demanding, jumping as high as you can is very demanding, and you know you have to like always make sure your body's healthy and stretched and not you know cramping or sore anything like that, you know what I mean. So yeah, you always got to stay on top of that in any sport no matter what it is. And that's why I recommend it again for like football guys or whatever sport you play, because it teaches you a lot about keeping your body healthy and in shape and things like that.
Nick, can you pull up? I think we have a video clip of John doing a high jump, uh, clearing it, and you can kind of walk us through this. Was this like the just a typical one? Was this like a winning jump?
Jumped higher, but you know that's like the only one I've had on video. My athletic director recorded that for me, like you know what I mean. Like I didn't have anybody. I don't usually ask anybody to do it.
Well, yeah, I know that's kind of weird, right? For hey, can you tape me? I mean, it's a little.
Yeah, like they just do it for you. Like it's
Yeah.
either you ask and like I guess they do it for you anyway or what. But you know, really
So,
try.
so that was so. So I know you've told me before your best in practice is 6'8". Is that right?
Yeah,
Do you have a goal for this year, or you want to be?
I
Oh,
always want to improve. You know what I
I
mean?
forgot
Every
to tell you,
year.
like you guys are like just like in football. You guys are dominant in track, aren't you guys? Like 2 or 3 times state champs in track.
Oh, not two or three in our school history. We're about I think 25 in the last 60 years. We're 25 times state champions. The last 10 years we've won. Oof, because there's indoor and outdoor, so I guess two. So I mean, 10 years, 20 seasons. We probably won about I'd say 14 of those. 14 of those. So yeah, my year, I'm undefeated, or my not me specifically, my team. We
Your year,
ever since I've been there, we
your
haven't lost. So
so your
yeah,
2021 guys at Hendricken have not lost in track or football, right?
since we've been there, yeah, since we've been
Yeah.
yeah.
You didn't get to have a fall season, so that's pretty amazing. What's your best? I mean, I'm an old dude. I didn't even have the Fosbury flop. I did the Western roll. Guys is like laughing. That's like, and I did 5'11". I thought that was good with the Western roll. So, but how far did you long jump? How far?
I
What you?
long jumped 21.3. That was in my outdoor uh back in August. That was like my best. And this is the thing about it. That meet specifically right there was like just an impromptu kind of thing. You know what I mean? It was a state championship, but like it wasn't as we lost our season, way back when in quarantine in the spring. So we didn't end up having our regular outdoor season, but so we had some meets in the summer. So that's basically how that went. But yeah, like I'm looking forward to this season. I know I'm in a lot better shape. I'm a lot stronger, a lot faster. So I'm just waiting to get the opportunity to go like execute. You know what I mean? That's all it's about, executing.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that out there. Uh, why don't you tell them your Twitter account if people want to get a hold of you and follow you and check you out because you're like what 6'1"? There we go.
Yeah,
Six
there it
foot
is.
6'1". If you didn't just keep that Nick for a while there, 6'1", 180. Is that about right?
Yeah.
And strong academics, 3.4. I know Bishop Hennigan has a real strong academic and class president. And I saw your 40 time. I was like, wow, that's smoking. You were like a 4.45.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, whatchamacallit, especially with my 40 somethings like that, like all those numbers and like I know I've improved on them. So you know what I mean? So like I'm just waiting to execute again. I'm gonna keep saying that word execute. I'm just waiting, you know. Been
That's
in the
pretty
gym
cool.
every day, been training. Like me specifically, like this is how my normal day goes pretty much. Like I'll like give you like a perspective. Like I wake up in the morning, go to school, whatever, online or in person or whatever it is. Then after that, if it's online school, I'll go right to the gym after because we get out a little early for online. We get out like about 12, so I'll go to the gym after that. Then I'll go to track practice, and then usually after track practice, we go to the weight room and lift again. Not every single day, but like it's like in a schedule. And yeah, so like I'm always like doing something. You know what I mean? I don't like sit. I don't like to sit around. It's just not me.
That's pretty amazing. I can see why you've improved so much. All right, so Nick, let's go ahead and break for a commercial, and then when we come back, we've talked about track and stuff, but we'll dive into a little bit with John about football and Henrikin and Rhode Island football, and we'll go over that when we come back from our commercial break. So stay loose, hang in there. Hey, thank Nick, my producer. He does a great job. Todd Krieger here with Elite Football Recruiting on Sports Fan Base Network, Rhode Island. We're on YouTube. This is live stream. You can I'll post this on my social media, Quarterback Guru on Twitter, Quarterback Guru on Instagram, Academic Elite FB on Instagram and Twitter. So heavy on the social media. Um, Excited to be on the show tonight talking football. I just love talking football anytime. Special guest tonight is John Santos, a senior at Bishop Henrikin High School here in Rhode Island. He's the class president, state champ in high jump and broad jump. So talked about his track. Let's talk a little bit about Bishop Henrikin football, John, because you guys are a powerhouse in football also.
Yeah, so our football program is really good. I ended up starting football my junior year at Hendricken. That was my first time ever playing football, and I picked it up pretty well. I'm looking forward to this season, man. I mean, it's been hard lately, having our football season postponed. And, you know what I mean? Everybody's trying to get out there and, go crazy. So everybody's just waiting, just waiting.
Well, in Rhode Island, you were allowed to have some practices this
Yeah.
fall, correct? Why don't you talk
Yeah.
about how that went and how the team's looking and what's your role going to be and kind of what do you think is going to happen with the year?
Yeah, so we had probably about like a couple weeks of practice back in the summer, a little bit in the fall. And yeah, we were like on top of that. We tried our best. We had a little bit of outbreak issues, things like that. So we got a little sidetracked, but we did the best we could, and we're looking forward to getting back to it soon. Yeah, our football program, like, we're really good. We stay very how do I say? My Coach Cross, he's really big on like scheduling and staying in routines and things like that. So our program's very organized, and I think that's like a big reason, and it's a part of our success. A really big reason for it.
Yeah, I know Coach Croft for a long time. I did some of his camps over at the school. Very impressed with what they got going on. Um, you guys have had some really tremendous success.
Yep.
People realize Rhode Island's the smallest state. It's not a football powerhouse compared to, some other states, as you head south, like Georgia or South Carolina or Ohio or Texas or whatever. But you guys at Hendrick have been pumping out the FBS guys. Do you know any of those guys, or are you familiar with any of those guys?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Quiddy was there before. I got to Hendricken. Like, he graduated like in 2017 or something like that. So I met him before. I didn't get the chance to like build a strong relationship with him. Xavier Truss, he graduated 2019. I met him my sophomore year. We were pretty cool. He's a really cool kid. And then Jason Onye, the senior this year, that's like one of my closest friends. I love that kid to death. Yeah, that kid works hard, and like I'm really proud of him. And I'm glad he's like going to Notre Dame. They deserve it, or he deserves it. And yeah, just great for him.
People don't realize how impressive that is, because before this rush of Hendricken guys, we maybe had one FBS full scholarship guy every like 7-8 years, one guy for the whole state. So for 3 years in a row, it's so impressive. Yeah, you've had some really talented players come out of there. So what are you thinking? Aren't you guys defending champs?
Yeah.
What's the word, man? Are you guys? I know it's. I mean, football's only. I know you're talking about track and it just started, but football is going to start in like 4 or 5 weeks, right? Like February. So it sounds like you said track's going to end on the 20th, and then football's like starting like right after it.
Yep. I mean, I'm gonna be a busy kid, man. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, this year, like, we believe nobody can compete with us in the state. That's our mentality every year. You know what I mean? That's the mentality you got to have. The winner's mentality. Mamba mentality, like Kobe. Yeah, you got to have that mentality if you want to win and like just keep dominating. That's what we like to do. We like to dominate, and that's just in our blood, in our school's history, and that's what we do. You know what I mean?
I know you only had a few practices, and what's where you think you see yourself on the team position, contributing? If you can't give away any like state secrets at Hendricken, but where do you think you're going to be playing and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I'm looking to obviously play receiver, play safety, return for the team, like kick return, things like that. Yeah, I'm looking to have a big year this year. Like, I'm looking to prove a lot of people wrong. You know what I mean? Not saying I have haters or something like that, but just to shock some people. I'm looking forward to it.
Dude, come on. If you're at Hendricken in Rhode Island, you got haters, man. Let's be real. Come on.
Yeah, it's a small state. What am I saying, right?
You guys are the king. Every year, you guys are the state champs. And everybody wants to beat the champ, or everybody wants to knock the king off the hill. That's just the way it goes, right? I mean, you guys got to know we got a target on your back, especially after you state champs for so many years. Everybody wants to beat you, and I'm sure there's teams, because you're a Catholic school, right? You're a private school, and so you can have kids come from other areas to your schools, and so I'm sure people there's a target on your back.
Oh, there's a target on our back every year, no matter what sport it is, Coach. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter what it is. Football, track, soccer, basketball, wrestling, swimming. Like, you don't even know, man. We have a target on our back every year. You know what I mean? We kind of feed off that. We like being the center of attention. That's just why we perform at the best of our ability every single year, and we do the best we can, because we know that it's like us versus the state. You know what I mean? We like that. We like that. We take it like it is.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm pretty familiar. I know for people who don't know this area, it's been a long time rival. It always seems the two Catholic schools in Rhode Island is LaSalle Academy and Bishop Hendricken. And so I've trained multiple players at both schools, and they're the last team that beat you 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yes, I think it was like
Nate,
4 years ago.
Maybe you were a freshman.
Yeah. I was a freshman, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'll say this year, I don't think anybody could touch us. You know, I mean, and I'm not even the only person who's saying that, Coach. I'll be honest. I know a lot of other people think that, and our athletes on our team, we're just built from a different cloth. You know what I mean? We play differently. We carry ourselves differently. You know what I mean? We just like we're complete this year. Like, and I can't wait to go showcase it out over there with my brothers. You know what I mean? Like, really can't. Like, I'll be honest, Coach. I'm not the biggest trash talker in the world, but like especially people out of the South, when they like to talk, like to run their mouths, you know, I kind of feed off that. And I'll be honest, this year it's like we're gonna look a completely different. Like, we're not even looking from Rhode Island. You know what I mean? We try to do that every year, and we try to look like a team from the South out there. You know what I mean? But yeah.
What are they saying? You know, you already talked about the track. Have they talked about football? Or are they just waiting to like how that's going to work with a compressed season and trying to play high school football in February and March? Have you guys like talked about it or how that might work?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not the the board of directors or whatever. I don't know all of it. I don't know everything. But I mean, like, what it looks like, I guess our season will start sometime very end of like February, beginning of March. It will obviously be compressed, probably end sometime in the spring. And yeah, I know it'll be a shorter season, but like, you know, it's better than nothing. You know, we didn't have anything this fall. It was a really big blow to a lot of kids, especially to me and the other seniors. You know, we're looking to go out there for our last year and like actually make something out of it. You know, go out on top.
Yeah, it's for other parts of the country, they don't realize how hard it was for all the seniors who didn't get to play, and so I really hope they somehow can figure out and pull it off, even if it's only 6 games, but
Yeah.
for all the high school players that trained and went to camps and been playing football since, 8 years old, and youth football, and anybody who was kind of like you, maybe you weren't the starter before because you had to wait your turn. There's lots of players, especially at a really good program like Hendricken or anybody else. Unless you're a superstar, you have to wait usually 2 or 3 years before you can become the starter. And so you wait that last year to be the starter, and then that's going to be your year to showcase what you can do, and then you don't get to play. So I know there's lots of quarterbacks that I train and other positional players that are disappointed because they're afraid not playing in the fall is going to hurt their chances because they all want to play college football. So, Matt, when we take another quick commercial break, and when we come back with John, we're going to cut the show a little bit short tonight. We got a little earlier start, but we're going to cut a little bit short because John's got a big dinner with his buddies and some family friends. So we're going to cut out about 6:45. So, Nick, if we could do another commercial break and we come back, we'll dive into a little more detail about John and scholarships and football and track. Hey, welcome back. Todd Krieger, owner of Academic Elite Football, also a private quarterback coach, social media quarterback guru, Academic Elite FB. Thanks again to Nick, my producer, and Sports Fan Base Network Rhode Island, and Ron Thomas for letting me host this show, Elite Football Recruiting. Each week we talk with players, coaches, parents about all things high school and college football recruiting. Tonight, my special guest is John Santos. He is from Bishop Hendrick. He's a 2021 wide receiver in DB. his senior year. 6'1", 180, 4.45 40, can fly. 3.4 GPA. School president. Just accolades go on and on. State high jump champ, state long jump champ. So very impressive young man. And I didn't know it until tonight, but he didn't start doing all these things until his sophomore year. So you're kind of a newbie. So John, so impressive that, I'm making you, hopefully you can get out of the car tonight and go to dinner because your head's not too big.
Yeah.
So you've come to some of my trainings on the weekends. What do you think of our stuff that we do when we get together and train? Because in Rhode Island, we just bring all the guys together. And so it's you train with a lot of the other players that you're going to play against, but we all seem to have a good camaraderie and everybody seems to have a good time.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, there's no beef there or anything like that. We just, players from all over the state come and it's a great time. We get some work in because, it's hard for kids right now, especially with no football season right now, no practice going on or anything like that. It's always nice to have like a place to go and go train and get some work in with quarterbacks and receivers and things like that. Like it's better than nothing. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like it's always good to get some work in and go train and stay in shape and things like that. So yeah, I love them. I started back in I started doing it more seriously back in the beginning of summer this year or 2020. I mean. And yeah, like I've been enjoying it ever since. I've been going every chance I get. And yeah, I would recommend a lot of other people do it too.
Well, we got to give a shout out. You know who I got to give a shout out. So, Jonathan and Robert Dickinson, because they were the ones that first got you on board. Do you want to give them a little love shout out to those guys?
Yeah, man, I love Coach Dickinson. I love Rob. Those guys are my second family. Done a lot for me, and I really appreciate them a lot. They told me about it. Like it was like a random night. He just texted me like, "Oh, John, you want to come get some work in with Rob and these other quarterbacks and receivers with Coach Krieger?" And I was like, "Oh, I guess why not? I'm not doing anything." You know what I mean? It was like quarantine or whatever. Like I wasn't doing anything. I was bored. I was trying to get some work in here and there every chance I could with my own teammates from my school. But sometimes it got hard. So it was nice to have like a kind of like in a way, an organized place to go every weekend, every week, go here and there, and just train. It was always a nice thing. I love it.
Yeah, I love the vibe. I love the vibe we get at our workouts. It's just always, I don't know what to say. It's competitive, but everybody's still supportive, and we have a good time. And for people who don't know, John keeps it loose. He's kind of the guy with the receivers. I always, because I'm usually training the quarterbacks, but every time I look, John's holding court with all the receivers, and so you're just this. I just noticed you're this. I don't know if and he probably told you, you're just this natural leader, this natural leadership quality. Are you aware of that? Do people tell you that?
I mean, I guess I don't like to toot my own horn. I never like to do that really. I mean, unless somebody tries to, talk crap to me, but yeah, like, I mean, I guess it's just always how I've been, to be honest, just how I am as a person, how my family's raised me is just what I am. Don't really have an explanation for it.
All right, let's talk a little about your future. So I know that you are being talked with some schools for football, correct?
Yeah, football, track. I'm just trying to get that going. I've already applied to majority of my schools that I'm looking to get to go to, about like 10 or 12. Can't remember the list off the top of my head. But yeah, so I've been staying on top of that. It's looking good. I can't wait to see what the future has in store for me. I know a lot of other people, they don't really get the opportunity to do that when they leave high school. It's kind of like they played in high school, did sports in high school, and that was it. So I'm kind of blessed to be able to have the opportunity to do that.
So sounds like you might want to do. We talked before. You really want to concentrate on track, and you think that's your path, but you might play football if somebody lets you play football. Is that kind of what's going on?
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, like I've been doing track, I guess for a year longer. So I mean, I guess I understand it better. I do it better, perform at it better. But I mean, I always like to I never back down from a challenge. I've been training football like this whole past 2.5 years or so because you know what I mean. Like if I found it fun, which I did, I like to keep going at it. I like to keep seeing what I could do with it. Like I don't do things just to do them. You know what I mean? I always like to see if I can get something out of it, and that's scars, things like that. It's the number one thing I'm looking forward to right now. I need those, man. I need all the money I could get. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm
Dude,
just staying on
come
top of
on,
that.
man. I started academic elite football to promote academics. Um, my story is I got to the NFL. I was really lucky. I got a lot of breaks. But after like 2, 3 years, I got cut, and like I achieved my dream, and I was like 25, and I was done. And I was like, just oh, now what do I want to do? And thank goodness my parents had promoted that I had to do good grades, good in school, and so I had a strong educational background. And the whole idea was I just think some kids get, the NFL dust in their eyes and they start to have success in high school and they immediately think they're going to go play in the NFL and their life's going to be set and they're going to be millionaires and they're going to be like Odell Beckham or Delroy Rivas or Tom Brady, and they're going to, be on social media. And the reality is that just such a small, small, small percentage, and especially coming from Rhode Island. So any way we can to help kids go to college, whether that's Division 3, Division 2, I'm all for it. And then try to use the football to get their education because they're not going to play in the NFL and they have to get ready for life after football. So I love that you have that attitude. So can you tell us some of the schools that are showing interest for track?
So yeah, I have URI, Colgate University, Bucknell, UConn, trying to look to go to Villanova even, UMass Amherst, things like that. I have some more, but it's like, I guess like losing my head.
It's all right.
Trying
You
to
caught you off guard. That's a great list of schools, and some of those schools are dynamic academic universities. So that's
remember.
pretty exciting. Um, how would you say your academics have they played a role in this? Do you think you're getting some schools looking at you? They take a look at your academics. What's your viewpoint related to academics and you getting opportunities?
Yeah, so the thing about like track and field athletes, like on average, like they tend to have higher GPAs and things like that. Like, and the thing about it is like, so like colleges, they have like different requirements for their athletes that they recruit. Like football tends to be like not saying anything, but like it tends to be on the lower side for the GPAs. Like what they require, basketball things like that usually lower. Track and field is actually higher, and it's not like that's not the reason why. Like I'm trying to get good grades in school and things like that. I mean, that's just always how I've been. I always stay on top of my grades and things like that. Things that really matter in life. Got to be realistic with myself. At the end of the day, like sports only lasts for so long, and what I want to do in my life, the money I want to make, things like that, where I want to be. I know academics has a big role to play in that, so I'm going to try and stay like I have been, stay focused on that, and see what I could do. Because I always like to, I you'll hear from a lot of people, like even you said, like I like to, put my hand in a lot of different activities, different things like that. You know what I mean? I always stay on top of different activities that I could do with myself, and whether it be in school or in sports or my community, things like that. I always try to do as many things as I can that I find interesting. So yeah, I'm interested in a lot of things. I mean, what I
I've,
want to major
I've,
in.
I've I've chatted with you at our practices, and I hear you chatting with the other guys and some of the topics and politics and COVID and academics and life and money. So, for a guy who's only going to be a senior in high school, you're pretty interesting, pretty well versed. I'm really impressed. How are your? Did you take the SAT or the ACT test?
I wasn't able to. I'll be honest. That was just like a disaster. The SAT, like they kept getting canceled, and like I just had no power over that. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what I could have done with that. I mean, the schools are test optional this year, so it doesn't matter. Like nobody's asking me for my SAT or whatever. But yeah, like that was pretty rough. I mean, it's not like I was looking forward to taking the SAT or whatever. It is what it is. My grades, they speak for themselves, so I know I'll be fine with that in that front. I stay on top of that. I'm looking at when I get to college, I'm looking to major in political science or criminal justice, something like that, pre-law, whatever the case is. I'm really interested in those topics. Like a big thing for me is like when I grow up in life, I want to do something that like I find interesting and I don't like lose a drive for it. You know what I'm trying to say? Because at the end of the day, the worst thing that can happen to you is major in something or like something like that. You realize you wasted your money. You're 4 years out of college, you're in debt and things like that, and then you don't even know what you want to do in life. Like I don't want to be like that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be lost. I want to be on a path where like I can see where I'm going. You know what I mean? I don't like being blind. I like to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You
I
know?
see that as a real. It's one of the reasons why I started academic league football. Is I see that happening more now than ever, where everybody just feels like they have to go to college, and then they go to college and they only get a little bit of scholarship money, and they come out. I think the average debt in college is
40K,
like
40K, something like that. Something crazy.
$40,000, and then the salaries have been going down of when you first come out of college, and it's more and more competitive, and then you feel like you have to go get a master's or an MBA, so then you got more, and then it just seems like it's tough sledding. So I think if you would agree with me, people who play sports just seem to have a better feel for strategizing, goal setting, having a game plan for success than when you get out to after you get done with college out in the real world. Would you agree with that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't just say like only athletes do. Like, obviously, everybody's different. You know what I mean? Some people like to stay on top of it. Some people don't. And those are the people that struggle in life. I mean, and that's just their choices, their life choices. So, I mean, you can't really hold that against anybody except themselves. Yeah. Like the thing about it is, I always like to stay focused and realize what really matters in life. You know what they say is you don't need college to succeed. But at the end of the day, like it's a competitive world. Like the standards are getting higher and higher, and like you need to, you got to do what you got to do. School's not easy. You think kids want to be in 4 more years of school? I mean, I've been in school my entire life. That's all I know. You know what I mean? I've been in school from kindergarten, senior year. Like it's been a long, long time, and it feels like this is like all I know. But at the end of the day, I know this is like what I need to do.
I'm going to let you go pretty soon, but I just wanted to ask you. Usually the kids that come on board or the coaches or whatever, I usually ask them, how has it been for you with COVID trying to go to school? Have you had to make some adjustments? Or what they're doing at Bishop? They're doing a virtual, they're doing a
So
combination?
yeah, so Hendrick and we started off for like our first couple months. We were in a full person. We were like the only school in the state that was doing that. I mean, it was going well as controversial as it seems. I mean, it was getting it done. At the end of the day, everybody knows that you learn better in person, not through a computer screen. And then eventually we had some outbreaks, unfortunately, and then a couple cases here and there. So we had to like close down, and then we went virtual. Then we went hybrid for a little bit. I mean, it's been a process. Everybody knows it's been a struggle for everybody. You just got to keep your head up and keep pushing. Like my history teacher always says, like a Winston Churchill quote, when going through hell, keep going, because there's always gonna be light at the end of the tunnel, and you always got to just keep persevering and doing what you got to do to make things happen. And that's what Hendrick is all about. I think we've been the most how do I say, we've definitely been the least we've been the most confident. I should say most confident in ourselves, and obviously it is a little bit easier for us to control those kinds of things because we had a game plan where we like split up the grades in each wing of our school, things like that. But at the end of the day, it was easier for us because we don't have as many kids as like the big public schools in around. We have about like probably like 800 kids in this school year. Like some of the biggest schools around, they have like 1,500, 1,600 kids. So, it's obviously a lot harder for them to socially distance, and all the other things, you got to do. So yeah, I mean, I'm just happy that, we're like, it's looking like hopefully later in the spring, with the vaccines and all this other things. Obviously, it's going to be hard to predict what will happen. But like, in my opinion, I think it's looking good. Hopefully we just return in full person without the worry of having to like close down again and things like that. It's been a difficult year. You know what I mean? Like we're just trying to get things done, so it is what it is. That's all it is.
Well, I want to thank you, John, for coming on. It was just great chatting with you. I can tell already with your attitude and your successes and the lessons you've learned that they've taught you at Henderson of achieving and striving and brotherhood. You're going to do fine out in the real world. Maybe 8 years from now, I can talk to you what's going on. Maybe I'll be at law school. I wouldn't surprise one day you're a politician. You're the the governor of Rhode Island, 15 years from now or something like that. So thanks again. Looking forward to, I'll see you on the field. Go have a good time at your dinner party tonight.
Yep.
And Nick, let's do one more commercial break, and then I'll come back and I'll close out the show. But again, John Santos, thanks for coming on the show. It was a great interview.
I appreciate it, Coach. Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a good night.
You too, Coach. See ya.
See ya. Hey, here we are. We're back on Elite Football Recruiting Show on Sports Fan Base Network, Rhode Island. I'm quarterback coach Todd Krieger, owner of Academic Elite Football. I want to thank John for coming on for tonight for the show. Super interesting guy, well-versed, football, track, academic, school president, just a really cool guy. I want to thank Nick, my producer, for helping out with the show tonight. I want to thank Ron Roberts. Next week, I'm going to try to have a college coach. I'm trying to reach out to Charlie Loeb. He's actually, when I was a high school coach at Lawrence Academy, he was my quarterback. He ended up going to Syracuse, and then he became a college coach, and he was the recruiting coordinator at St. Anselm's, a Division II school in New Hampshire. So I always like to have college coaches come on and talk about behind-the-scenes recruiting process. He's down in Georgia right now as a private coach, but he's still got his pulse on college recruiting. So try that for next week. Again, all you guys who are high school kids, make sure your Twitter account's solid, your huddle's solid. Careful what you're putting on your social media. Be aggressive. If you're in New England, you better be training. Season's coming in like 5 weeks. We're doing indoor wide receiver, DB, quarterback training, so you better get some reps out there. It's super competitive for the scholarships right now. So again, Nick, thanks a lot for our show tonight here on Friday, and hopefully I'll see you guys next week. Quarterback coach Todd Krieger, I'm out for Friday night. Thanks.